Licensing examinations and study materials. In this section, we're going to discuss the format and content of the licensing examination, as well as the study materials and preparing for the examination. We would like to emphasize that we have extensive materials on the Law Society website setting out this information in greater detail, and this section is intended to provide an overview of some of this information. We recommend that candidates review all the website materials closely before beginning to study for the examination, especially the Guide to Licensing Examinations found under Licensing Examinations, and the Rules and Protocol for Licensing Examinations found under Legislation, Bylaws, and Rules on the website. To register for a licensing examination event, candidates must first make the required payment in full for the study materials. Once payment is made, candidates can register for an examination sitting. Please remember that to complete a registration, you must have had your law school, college, or the NCA make your final official transcript or CQ available to the Law Society. Only once that document is received, verified, and approved will a candidate be able to complete and submit a registration for an examination. Candidates are required to successfully complete the required licensing examinations as part of their paralegal or lawyer licensing requirements. The exams measure performance on a pass-fail basis and assess whether a candidate has met the minimum standard of competency required to be licensed in Ontario. All items on the licensing examination are in multiple choice format. You must choose the best answer from 4 possible options provided. Each item has only one best answer, and you will receive credit only when you have selected the correct answer. Scores equal to or higher than the established passing mark receive a pass result. Scores lower than the passing mark receive a fail result. Typically, there are 3 exam sittings held in a licensing year, and they are held in the summer, fall, and winter. The licensing examination fee payment deadline is posted online on the examination dates and deadlines page. The examinations are open book and are self-study. The examination study materials are aligned with the required entry-level competencies that have been designed to support the self-study process. The competencies are listed on the Law Society website, and candidates are strongly encouraged to review each competency as part of their preparation. It's worth noting that every question you will see on the licensing examination is associated with one of the listed competencies and is related to information that appears in that year's licensing examination study materials. The examinations are administered in person, and you're required to bring in a paper copy of the study materials for reference during the examinations, as accessing digital copies of the materials is not permitted during the exam. The study materials for each licensing year's licensing examinations become available each spring. Candidates who have paid for their study materials by the payment deadline for the summer exams will be able to access the study materials once they become available in the spring. Candidates are expected to access a PDF of the materials within their LSO Connects account within their application. There is a licensing examination section in the application where candidates will create an event registration for an examination sitting. Once study materials are paid and released for the licensing year, candidates will see the study materials within the examination event registration. Please remember that even if you study from the digital materials while you are preparing for the examination, you will not have access to digital study materials during the examination. Therefore, if you want to be able to refer to the materials during the examination, you must ensure that you print a copy of the materials and have that paper copy in the examination testing area for you to refer to. Students do not have access to the digital materials during the licensing examination sitting. Candidates must review the rules and protocol for the licensing examinations to understand the requirements to write the licensing examination and the relevant rules of conduct expected of candidates before, during, and after the licensing examination sitting. If you find you are unable to write at the sitting you selected and the deadline to make changes to your event registration has not passed, you must cancel your examination event registration through LSO Connects no later than the posted deadline for the licensing examination. Candidates should refer to the examination dates and deadlines page for the registration and cancellation deadlines. If you defer by the deadline, any licensing examination fees paid will be transferred to the future sitting. Once you cancel your registration, you'll be able to register for a subsequent sitting, provided your licensing term has not concluded. Candidates who cancel a licensing examination and register for a sitting in a subsequent licensing year must purchase the revised study materials for the new licensing year. We're now going to speak about key strategies and considerations to help you prepare for writing a licensing examination. Candidates often ask our department how they can best prepare for the exams in terms of study strategies. The short answer is that you should probably use the study habits and methods that have helped you succeed thus far. There is no one best way to prepare for these exams for everyone. The best way for you is the one that works for you. In our experience, there are almost as many studying styles as there are candidates who write the exam. As you are aware, the licensing examination is open book. There may be a misconception that you don't need to study as much for open book exams since you're permitted to bring the study materials into the examination testing area. However, this type of examination requires you to analyze and apply knowledge in specific situations. So you do need to fully understand the content and be very familiar with the study materials before you write the exam. You don't want to waste your time during the examination searching through your study materials or other documents you bring with you. Rather, you want to devote your time to careful reading each question and choosing the best answer. Although each of us learns and studies differently, you may wish to consider taking a systematic approach that includes a study schedule so that you can organize your time, effective reading and note-taking so that you'll remember what you've read when you're writing the exam, organization of your materials in light of the open book nature of the exam, and practice questions. Let's start with the ways to organize your study time. First, it's always a good idea to begin studying early. Studying in short, manageable increments over time may be more beneficial than cramming all the material in a long study session just before the exam. Second, consider setting up and maintaining a regular study schedule. You may want to set aside a specific time of day for studying. Ideally, try to schedule study time when you're wide awake and alert. In many cases, this means not scheduling study time at night. You're less likely to retain material when you're mentally or physically tired. And don't forget to leave room in your study schedule for unanticipated events that may require your time. Next, to help focus your study sessions, consider setting specific goals for each session. For example, you might decide to study a specific chapter or review the rules and guidelines relevant to a particular topic during a designated block of time. Taking breaks during study sessions is also a good idea. Studying requires mental effort, so take breaks as part of your study session. For example, after studying for 50 minutes, you may plan to take a 10-minute break. After 3 consecutive 1-hour blocks, you might take a longer break, perhaps half an hour, and then start the study cycle again. If a given section of materials is more difficult for you, you might shorten each of the study sessions for that topic, but have more of them and take more frequent breaks. For example, for the material that is more challenging to you, you might want to study for only 20 to 30 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. When you're studying the more challenging material, you may also want to take your longer break after only 2 blocks instead of 3. It's a good idea to start each study session by reviewing the material you've previously learned. Reviewing the materials you've learned will help you keep knowledge fresh in your mind. If you wait too long to review the material, you may waste time trying to relearn what you knew but you forgot. Also, Try to use the week just before the examination to review, integrate, and reinforce your understanding of the content. Turning to reading and note-taking for open book exams, let's consider how best to review the study materials so that you understand and retain what you have read. This usually involves careful, active, and systematic reading. In most cases, this will mean reading the material more than once to really understand the content. To build a solid base of knowledge, you may need to read the material once to gain a general understanding, an overview of the content, and then a second and a third time to reinforce important concepts or to fully understand more challenging concepts. You may want to take the opportunity during these subsequent reviews to consider what types of questions could be asked about each concept and competency, and to consider how different concepts and competencies interact and overlap with other content. It's a good idea to begin highlighting and taking notes only once you have a general understanding of what you're learning. If you start too early, you may end up highlighting or writing down too much information. So, what are some of the things you can do to prepare materials for use during the exam? The goal is to organize your materials so that you can quickly access relevant information. Prior to the examination, take some time to make your study materials as user-friendly for you as possible. We have 3 suggestions for organizing your physical material. 1, use tabs or a color coding system to delineate certain subject areas and key topics. 2, prepare short, manageable summaries on selected topics. Finally, create an index or a table of contents listing key topics in corresponding pages. The point of these strategies is to help you quickly find information in your materials during the exam. So choose the method that works best for you. As you are organizing materials in the way that suits you best, bear in mind that some concepts cut across several areas of law. It's also important to prepare psychologically for the licensing examination. It's common to feel some anxiety before, during, and after the exam. And if you start to feel overwhelmed, consider taking slow, deep breaths to relax. Calming yourself physically will help calm you emotionally. The calmer you are during the examination, the better you'll be able to concentrate. And also, don't forget the basics: getting enough sleep and exercise, maintaining good nutrition, and being active in other areas of your life, whether socially, physically, or intellectually. Knowing and understanding your material thoroughly and being well prepared will likely prove to be key features for a successful attempt at the licensing examination. On examination day, please ensure to review the website for important information regarding the day of the examination. Be sure to be on time on the scheduled date and time of your exam. This is important not only to ensure that the examination is administered smoothly, but also to give you a chance to get settled into your surroundings and relieve any anxiety that may come with having to write a licensing exam. It's important to be mentally prepared not only for the licensing examination itself, but also for unexpected circumstances that might arise. Valid government-issued photo ID will be what you will show on exam day in order to check in and receive your seat number before you begin your exam. Please note that the anticipated timing of the posting of results is set out on the website. Note that results will not be released until approximately 8 weeks after the test window concludes. You'll see your results in your LSO Connects account in the examination event registration. Because your results are in your account, you should ensure that you do not share information about your account with others. You will receive an email notifying you that your results are in your account, so there's no need to follow up with our office and check whether the results are out yet. The results are released for all students for a given sitting on the same day at approximately the same time. If you do find that you are unsuccessful on your examination, you may register for a future sitting if that future sitting is within your licensing term and you have not reached the limit on the number of attempts at the licensing examination. To register for another examination, go to the Licensing Examinations section of your application on LSO Connects and create another exam registration. You must register by the applicable deadline for that exam sitting. Note that if you're unsuccessful on a licensing examination, you will also receive a report that provides you with a visual representation of your performance on the licensing examination. That report may provide you with guidance on the areas you can work on to improve your performance for your next attempt. If you have any questions, please review the website and contact us through your LSO Connects account.